when you're making two molds, like a face bust to push inside another mold, this stuff doesn't shrink at all. So your molds are so accurate, your edges meet perfect, your seams are perfect. Hydrocal twists when it cures and tends to give you a little worse seams. Like if you had a two-piece mold going together, your seams wouldn't meet together as well as this stuff. So we just switched to this because that's the only thing we can find right now. But this is great for foam latex. It does work for regular latex, but it doesn't absorb the moisture into it on that side of the appliance as well. What you do is you put this in your oven and you heat it up, it'll soak it right in. I mean, it'll cure your appliance in seconds. We just did this appliance for Steve in 15 minutes in the hotel room using a Q-tip and a hairdryer and just made the appliance. So, I mean, this stuff works. The great thing about it is it holds its detail longer. The problem with hydrocal is after all the moisture's been absorbed in the hydrocal over and over again, it starts to remove pits out of the plaster. So after like 15 or 16 castings, you're starting to get these little boogers sticking up on the thing because it's dissolving the surface. This stuff lasts a lot longer, and it's made for baking in the oven for the foam latex appliances. That's what it is. So now what we want to do, I'm just going to put this out of sight for a second. If we put our plaster on this face right now, it's going to run everywhere. So we don't want that to happen because we don't want to waste our plaster because it's so damn expensive. So we're going to make a little dam wall, I guess you could say.
Wiener.
Yeah, wieners are clay. I know it sounds silly, guys, but it works. And you squeeze your little wall out. Make a little wall like that. And then you go around your appliance, sticking it to your bust, so you can contain the plaster from running around the side of the thing. Also, you want a nice thick edge on your piece. If you have little tiny wafer thin edges, you end up chipping them, breaking them. You put it in a box, you're screwed, and then it falls apart. So we go around this thing. You see, Ty?
Yep.
So we'll get to the more elaborate stuff tomorrow. I just want to give you guys a heads up. You want to make something cool for this Halloween. You can make Star Trek appliances like this. You can make all kinds of stuff. Hard rubber like this, just casting latex, only works on areas of your face that don't flex a lot. If you try to put an appliance down here in your smile area, because it's hard rubber, it's just going to buckle and it's going to want to pull loose all the time. So we try to keep our appliances, when we make them on this type of rubber, like on Ty's forehead, up on top, doesn't do a lot of flexing. The eye, of course, fits into a pocket and you can hide the edges so it doesn't flex a lot. And that bullet hole I put on his cheekbone, just because that's not a soft area of the face. Your face is oilier here, it's oilier on your neck and on your nose, so it's a little harder to get things to stick there. Keep that in mind. I'm going to build this wee little wall around it. Your plaster to water ratios, they'll always explain it when you buy it. It'll explain it's usually 50 parts water to 100 parts plaster. So it's, yeah, we'll just stir it that way. Go and make it kind of thick. Okay, Vaseline is our friend when it comes to lubricating the edges of something where we don't want it to stick. So I don't want it to stick into this mannequin face anywhere, and you never know if it's going to. So we're going to lube up. You'll see, we're going to brush it on. You brush on your first layer with a brush, pushing it into every detail. Always use a brush in your first layer. They call it a splash coat. They start dropping it at a point, but the first thing you do is you use your brush and you get it pushed into all those layers, wherever else it says Cryoline Crystal Clear. It's like $2 a can. And you spritz it on there and it seals your clay with a shiny plastic layer. So you let it dry. When you put your plaster on and you go to pull that plaster off, the plaster either stays on the piece, it usually stays right on the piece, so you don't have to sit there and dig the plaster or the clay out of your mold. That's the worst thing. Of all the things you could plan on a movie schedule, trying to get a face done, you got your whole day scheduled, and then all of a sudden you pull your mold apart and the clay is stuck in the mold. So without destroying your detail now, you have to go in with tools and brushes and alcohol and dissolve it all out and dig it out, and you end up, my wife and I have stayed up 3 hours at night just digging out appliances because it just went wrong because we used the wrong plastic spray. They make all kinds of clear sprays. They make, what are the other ones we were using?
Krylon Crystal Clear.
It was Krylon, but there was another kind.
T300.
Yeah.
What is it?
Rust-Oleum.
Yeah, Rust-Oleum. Stay away from that. Goopy, sticky. Stick with the Krylon Clear Gloss or Krylon Satin. Those are the two best. And I'm telling you, you go to pull that off, and the thing's clean. That's perfect. Need a chip brush? Good. Thank you. Okay. So Steve's mixed together. Ultracal now. You can make it runny. The more water you add to it, the weaker it gets. It's not a big deal when you're doing small stuff like this. So I got on the brush here, I'm going to push it into the details. Is about a ½ inch thick. Just let it dry. It takes about an hour until it's fully cured. You'll feel the plaster heat up. Don't try to demold it while it's hot. Wait till it starts to cool down. Then you know it's going through its setting process. All these plasters will heat up. Hydrocal will heat up. Ultracal will heat up.